Okay guys, so welcome to this practical. So here we're going to learn a little bit more about intents, entities, and contexts. And we're going to apply this in a scenario of building a pizza bot, okay, a pizza ordering service. So we're going to learn a little bit about how to manage conversation flow with context, as well as how to use all of these entities, and also more about intents. Okay, so we'll build upon what we have learned in the previous practical. Okay, so here we're going to start off by creating the entity. And the entity we're going to be creating here is called pizza type with the following elements. Okay, so an entity are those important pieces of information that should be found in a particular intent. So in this case, the user is ordering. Here we want to know what is the user flavor or user type of pizza. Okay, and so based on this flavor, we want to pick out from the intent what kind of flavor does he want. Does he want Hawaiian, pepperoni, barbecue, or veggie? So to be able to do that, we have to define an entity. Now this is what you call a custom entity. So for custom entities, you may define synonyms if there are certain words which are similar or can be substituted for, then you can define synonyms here, right? So let's just begin this process. So in dialogflow, I'm going to be using, by the way, the same bot as the previous exercise, so that we can test this in all the platforms, because this is already connected to our Messenger and Telegram. And so because we want to avoid redoing that entire process, we're going to use the same bot. But feel free to try to create a new one if you prefer. So first I'm going to go to entities here, and I'm going to call this, okay, I'm just going to delete some of these things, because I actually did this already. Okay, so let's just begin from the beginning. So assuming you don't have any entity yet, all right, so we'll just create the entity, and then we're just going to call this thing pizza type, right? Let's just match that. Okay, and let's just place some. So these are the items that you want to identify, all right? That could be part of a particular intent. Okay. So Hawaiian, pepperoni, barbecue, and veggie. Okay, so there we have it. So once you're done with that, there you have it. So you have these intents here. You have these entities here. And so you can just add more rows if you want. But right now I'm just going to save this. Okay, and there we have it. So that's the pizza type. Now we're going to do the same thing for pizza size. So once we've saved this, we can just quickly add another intent, and we'll call this pizza size. Okay, so this will be personal, regular, large, and extra large. Okay, then save that. And then we shall have the pizza crust, hand tossed, thin, and cheese. So let's just do that. So again, just click pizza crust, hand tossed, thin, and cheese. Okay, so that's done. So next we're going to add the intents now. Okay, so obviously these entities have no use unless they are part of an intent. Okay, so we are already forecasting that we need all of these elements when we set up our intents. So let's do the first one here. So the first one is called pizza start. Okay, so pizza start okay, so pizza start will be the intent which triggers the entire ordering process. Okay, so typically you have something which will trigger the ordering process. It's the same way as when you say, hey Siri or hey Google, right? There has to be something which will trigger it, or else it might get confused. So let's create now a new intent. Okay, so make sure you save it, then click new intent here, and then just do pizza. Okay, let me just double check. Okay, so pizza start. Okay, and then we're gonna add here a context. Okay, we'll call this context pizza start as well. So context allows you to sort of manage the conversation flow. So what you're doing here is, once this intent is triggered, we are going to activate this context so that other intents will know that this intent has been triggered. So sometimes you want to know whether a previous intent has been triggered before another intent can be triggered. And so in that situation, the subsequent intent would look through its input intent, right? And the previous intent should output what you call an output context. Sorry, let me repeat that. So you use a context in order to manage conversation flow. So in this situation, I'm using an output context to signify to the subsequent intent that this intent has been triggered. So subsequent intents will look will check whether a particular context has been set. Okay, so if a particular intent sees this context, then maybe it will trigger. Okay, then it will trigger. So you can choose to do it in this way, because you don't want the intent to trigger unless a previous intent has been triggered. Okay, so that's one important use of a context. So I'm setting now this context. You can give it any variable that you want, any variable name that you want, but in this case, I'm just giving the same name for that. Okay, and now let's add in the training phrase. Okay, so let's just have a few training phrases here, which might trigger this intent. I'm hungry. I want a pizza. I want to order. Okay, so you will have some phrase. So let's have these three phrases first, and then let us have a response which will prompt the user to trigger another intent. Okay, so what is this response now? What size would you want? So you see, you're giving this type of response so that the user will be guided to respond, which will trigger another intent. Okay, so let's just go ahead and add this. So I'm gonna prompt it. Okay, pizza large or extra large. Okay, so you give it some sort of some guide here. Okay. Okay, so with that, let's just save that. Now you can have some alternative message, alternative response, so that there'll be a bit more variety. I'll give you time to do that, but for my case, in the interest of time, I'm going to just use this one, okay? But you can add more possible responses if you want, which will prompt the user to choose the size, okay? So that's the pizza start. Okay, so now let's move on to the next intent. So this one is going to prompt you for the pizza size, right? So that's where we're going to do this now. And let us now add here a new intent. In this case, this is pizza-get size. Okay, so we can place here now the training phrase. So they'll say probably something like, give me regular, right? Now what you want to do now is you want to annotate the entity, the important thing. So you're training it to figure out which one here is the entity and what type of entity is this. So here, I'm just going to put it here. And now it doesn't know at this point. So I'm going to guide it and say that this is the pizza size, right? Okay. Do I have pizza size here? So you can just do a search here. Pizza. Oh, there's a pizza size. Like so. Okay? So that's how you annotate it. Press enter. Let's add a few more expressions. So you might say regular. Oh, there. And you can see that as you press enter, it guessed correctly. So as you keep on training it, it will actually guess for you, and usually it will get it correct. Okay. So what does it say here? I want the size to be large. Okay. I want the size to be large. Okay. And you see it's guessing correctly already. It's guiding you. So I want personal. Okay. So there. So that's how you train it to recognize the training for the intent, as well as how to pick out the entity in that intent. And so the next thing you want to do here is you want to think about, do I want pizza start to be triggered first before this, or another way of putting it is, do I want this intent to trigger only if pizza start has been triggered, right? So if that is the case, then you want to put an input context to control when this will trigger. Okay. So I'm just going to put here the context as the same one, which was pizza start, right? So that's the input context. And now I'm going to put an output context here because I think that I want the subsequent statement to actually trigger only if this thing has been triggered. So I'm going to change it, and I'm just going to call the same thing pizza-get size. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to save that. So you notice, class, that this one has a number, which is 5. So this means that for the lifespan is how many conversations or how many back and forth statements will occur before this context expires. So this is saying 5 statements and then it will expire. Okay? Because you don't want this context to be live forever, right? So in this case, I'll just keep the defaults because it's not that critical that it expires so soon or not. Okay? And so same thing here. We want to go to the next level here. Okay, so can I get the flavor that you want? Pepperoni, Hawaiian cheese, and barbecue. Okay, so let's just do that in the response. Can I get the flavor that you want? So what are the options here? Pepperoni, Hawaiian cheese, barbecue. Okay. Okay, that looks fine. And so I think that after that we can use the quick replies now. So one thing, class, which you can do with this intent is you can actually target it to a particular platform. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to use Facebook Messenger's quick replies, right? Because I think this is a nice way to make the user choose. Okay, so I'm just gonna click save here, go Facebook Messenger, and add responses. So I'm just gonna say quick replies. So the first entry here will be the title of this quick reply. So in this case, enter your flavor, and then you can put in now your choices. So I'll just follow whatever they have here. So it will be pepperoni, Hawaiian, cheese, and barbecue. Okay, so that's it. So that's an alternative to letting the user type. You can use quick replies if the client supports it. So I'm just going to do that. So that's for Facebook Messenger. The default. Okay, so I'm just going to save all of this. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is we will move to the next one. Okay, so if you notice for this practical, get flavor is actually not completed. So I leave it to you to do this portion. Give it a try and do it yourself. If you don't know how to do it, the next part of this video will show you how to put in get flavor. It's more or less the same. So let me just do that now. So it'll be pizza dash get flavor, right? So you're gonna place here, I want Hawaiian. Oh, sorry, what is flavor? Let's just double check. Okay, so maybe we should test it out first. Okay, let's test it out. So I am hungry. Okay, so okay, I think I already created pizza type. Oh, okay, pizza crust. I should have pizza crust already. Okay, I already did pizza type. Okay, so the next one is pizza. Okay, the first one is pizza type, then pizza size, then pizza crust. Okay, so wait, let's just go to the intent first. Okay, so I will start pizza get size. Okay, we already got this, in fact, so we should get the crust now, right? So can I get the crust that you want? Okay, this is pizza crust, right? Yeah, no, this gets size. So we want the crust now. So it should be, what are the options for the crust? Hand tossed thin and cheese. Okay, so you can do this yourself. I'll do it right now, but you can try it yourself first. So hand toss thin and cheese. like so. All right. So I'm gonna fix. So I fixed that up. Okay. So now that I've prompted the user for the crust, we can now create our intent for the crust, right? So we can also do a Facebook Messenger here. So this one is not correct now. So let's fix this. So this should be hand tossed thin and cheese. Okay. Okay. Yeah. And so this one is still correct. Okay, so this still follows, right? So let's save that. Okay, next let's add the intent now for pizza crust. Okay, so pizza get crust. Okay. So say I want. So the context here we have to input first. So this one should be pizza get size, right? Pizza get size. Okay, and then the output will be pizza dash get crust. Correct? Yeah, I think that looks correct. All right, now let's put there I want thin. Okay, I want thin. I want hand tossed. Okay, I have to annotate this. Okay, so this should be pizza crust, right? And then just press enter to that. This one should also be annotated. So just highlight it. You just highlight it. Sorry. And then it should be crust. Yeah. Okay. Cheese. Let's see if we can do that. Pizza crust. This one is pizza crust. Okay. So that's fine. And now we will prompt it. So you can see when you create this, you actually are creating a parameter as well. So every time you set an entity up, right, or you annotate an entity, the parameter will appear here in the parameters table here. Okay. So the parameters table, this is useful. Like this name is useful when you do coding and submit this to fulfillment. You actually need to know the name, right? But it's just useful to know that this exists. Once you annotate, it will be done for you. Okay, and then finally, okay, so we did the get size already. Then we did the quick replies already. Actually, this should be get size. Okay, so let me clarify this. This should be sorry, get crust. This should be get crust. Okay, so please fix that up. Okay, and then finally we will get the particulars, right? Because it's making an order, we want to know what were the items. Okay, so this one is incorrect. This should be pizza dash get crust. Okay, if you want to do it, because pizza type already gets the flavor, so please correct this. Okay, so let's just do that. Let's finish this up first, then we'll test it. Okay, so this one will be pizza dash get crust. Okay, so now let's give a response. Now we're going to be asking him for his particulars. All right. So what we can do is we can ask him for approval, to get his particulars. Thank you. Thank you now we will get your particulars, press OK, type OK to continue. Type OK to continue. Okay, you can do something like that, right? To sort of guide him through this process. Okay. Now for Facebook Messenger, did I already place stuff here? Okay, it's a Facebook Messenger. Okay, you can also do a quick replies here, right? So add response here, and then the quick replies is enter your crust, or choose your crust. Choose your crust. So it will be hand tossed, thin, and cheese. Okay. Yeah, so that looks fine. So let's save that first. So let's go ahead and try it out. Okay. So I am hungry. Okay, it says here, yes, what size would you want? Please choose pizza size. Okay, this one is not so well done. Let me fix this up. So if you look at the sizes, okay, let me just go into the sizes. Let's go to the entities. The sizes are personal, regular, large, extra large. Okay, let me just fix that up. So in pizza start, please just choose personal. What's the other one? Let's see this. Sizes personal, regular. Okay, regular. Okay, so we go pizza start. Personal, regular, large, extra large. Okay. Please, maybe we can say here, please, choices, let's just put here, choices are, okay, so we can do it like that. Okay. Okay, you want to guide this person as much as possible. Let's save that first. And then in Facebook Messenger, let's add this responses as well. Okay, so again, quick replies for this. Enter your size, personal, regular, large, extra large. Okay, so let's save that. Okay, that looks better. So we're gonna test this in Facebook later. Let's do this, the default one first. Say, I am hungry. Okay, there you go. Yes, what size would you want? Choices are personal, regular, large, extra large. Okay. Now, since we have connected this with Facebook Messenger, you can actually see the sample here. If you don't want to test in Facebook Messenger, but you know you have been integrated with Facebook Messenger, you can actually test it here. See that? How it would look. But of course, it doesn't match Facebook Messenger's client. No? So normally you want to really test it on a Facebook Messenger's client, right? But again, this is a quick and easy way to do that. Okay, so we're gonna reply now here. Say I want regular. By the way, you can see that the context pizza start has been triggered. So regular here is supposed to match the next intent, which is pizza size, right? Get pizza size. Pizza get size, right? And so pizza get size will only trigger if the input context is triggered, right? Which is this one, correct? So this should trigger now pizza dash get size. So let's see. So it triggered. So you always want to observe, was it triggered? Yes. That's good. So, can I get the crust you want? Hand tossed thin and cheese. Okay, so let's try cheese. So it's good. It got it. No? The only thing, you see, the problem with this cheese is there's also a flavor pizza type, is cheese, and then there's also a crust, which is cheese. So you have to pay attention if this will conflict, no? Because both of these contexts could be active and it could get confused. So you have to observe this very carefully, no? Especially if the response could be the same, right, for different questions. So the context is the one that sort of distinguishes it. But sometimes if the context has a value of 5, right, the number 5, then it might still be active. They could conflict with each other, right? In this case, it did not, so it was good. So anyway, the context, so now you can see the 3 contexts is actually active, you see? So if one of these contexts, one of the intents, which has also cheese as a response, and also has an input context active, they could conflict. That's what I'm trying to say. So you want to manage that. So that's where you want to reduce the count of the, the lifetime of the context. Okay, so the next thing is user particulars. Okay, type OK. Now you see there's nothing. So now it's our job to create the user particulars. All right. So again, let's go ahead and do that. So here is pizza user particulars. Okay, and then so what are we going to place here? So let's look at this. So we're going to place some input parameters to retrieve first name, last name, phone number, and postal code. Okay, so there's many ways to retrieve all of this, right? You can do it one at a time, right? So what's your first name? What's your last name? What's your phone number? What's your postal code? However, you could also do it in one go like this, right? In this case, you are creating the parameters and it will define prompts, okay, automatically. So the thing is, if the parameters are missing, it will keep on prompting you until all of these have been filled up. Okay, let me explain that. So let's just create the parameters first. Okay, you can ignore this action. It's not important now, but these particulars. So let's just put this one in. So we'll place the parameter name as first name. Okay. Okay, we'll say it's required, right? It's required. First name. Yeah, so it's a little bit short. Is list always keep blank? Define prompts. You can customize this. Okay, so this one here, the entity, is the type of this parameter name. Okay, so in this case, we're going to use what you call a system entity, and C. So there's a bunch of options here, right? So we can just put @sys. So, but which one, right? Which one will it be? Okay, so the best one for this case, because a name is very variable, right? It could be a lot of things. What you can do is you can just place any here. Let's just try any. Okay, sys.any as this. Okay, so let's add in a few more of this. Let's have a new parameter. So last name @sys.any as well. Okay, press enter. Okay, this is required as well. Then add new parameter. What else do you want? It wants phone number and postal code. Okay, let's just use sys.any for all of this. Phone number, sys.any. and then the postal code. Okay, so the training phrase here will be okay, right? If you press OK, then it's fine. The context should be pizza get crust, right? Pizza get crust. So this one. Now this will be the end of this flow, this dialogue. But if you want to add more, then maybe you also want to have another context. So we're just gonna leave this blank. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna say thank you for your order. Let's just try it. Okay, let's see if it works. Okay. Now, when you run this, it's always good to reset the context, meaning get rid of it, so it's as if there's nothing, right? Okay, I thought I reset it. Yeah. Okay, so let's say I am hungry. Okay, so let's say regular. Okay, so it's good. So you're checking that it's regular here. Then it's triggering get size. Yeah, and then there's a crust. Let's have hand tossed. Okay, so I'll just press OK. So now it is asking you. Alright, so let us just place here Justin. Okay, so let's see 9010-620 and 398028. There you go. So that's the flow. Now obviously this information should be inputted to some database, right, with fulfillment, which will be our next topic. But right now I'm just showing you this is how typically you would get all of this information, right, through intents and context. Now there are some things that we can do with this, okay, with this response. Now, as we said, this response, thank you for your order, will normally come from a database, okay? But I just want to show you one way to make your static responses more dynamic, okay? So these static responses are very limited, obviously. But normally, as I say, if you have fulfillment, you can make changes to this response based on some logic on your server, okay? But now we do not have that. But if it is a static response, you can make it dynamic only by using these parameters. So for example, you want to echo out what he said, right? So you might say something like, thank you for your order, $, first name. See that? $, first name. And this will refer, the $sign will refer to the first name. Then you could refer as well to previous contexts. Now, what are the contexts which are active at this point? You have here pizza get crust and pizza get size, right? So let me save this first. So let's look at this. All right, so for the intents here, okay, so let's look at the intents. So we have here pizza get size. Okay. Okay, so here you can see from the parameters, you could actually refer to the pizza size. Okay, so you can actually retrieve this because pizza get size. Okay, let's go back to that. Okay, so here you could actually refer to that because pizza get size is actually active and pizza get crust is active. You can actually get information from that. So you can say something like, thank you for your order. Thank you for your order. You have chosen what? Then you can put there the hash and then the context name, right? In the case of our context, it's the same as our intent name, right? So we'll say pizza dash get crust dot pizza get crust. What is the name of that? Okay, here it's called pizza crust. You can change its name, by the way. All right, it's okay. You can change this. We're calling it pizza crust now. And then the other one was pizza crust. The other one is pizza size, right? So it gives the parameter name. Okay, so let's just go here. Pizza get crust. Pizza get crust. And okay, let's just do that. Pizza. Let's do a hash here. Pizza dash. What's the name of the context? Get size, right? Get size. And then we can put here. So this should be pizza that get crust that pizza, because this is the name of the parameter. Pizza crust dot pizza size. We will deliver it $2. So what is this one? This is the postal code. To postal code $. So we just refer to this. If you're referring to a parameter, just refer to this one. Okay? So if it's the current one, you can just retrieve the parameter. Deliver it to postal code in 30 minutes. Or you get your money back. So good service. Like so. Okay? So let us now save this. Okay, so let's now try it. Okay, I am hungry. All right, so what size? Let's just say extra large. Let's see if we can get it. Can I get the crust? Cheese. Now we will get your particulars. Press OK. What is the first name? Okay, so Justin Monreal 90106520, and the postal code is 398028. Let's enter that. There, see that? She said, thank you for your order. You have chosen cheese and extra large. We will deliver it to postal code 398028 in 30 minutes. Okay? Yeah. So that shows you the flow of this pizza bot. Now, I have to say, I made a mistake in the sense where I did not put, I believe, the flavor. Okay? So if you look at the top here, I'm asking for the size, but I did not put the flavor. So please go ahead and do that. Okay? Put the flavor, because I stopped at the crust. I should have put the flavor here as well. So please do that and see if you can get that working. Also, it gives you a bit of practice. Okay? Now, okay, so I'll let you do that. Now, before I let you do that as well, let's test this on some other platform. Okay, so let's test this in Facebook Messenger first, because we implemented the quick replies in Facebook Messenger. Please also try to implement it as well in Telegram, and see what's available and see how it works. Okay, so for Facebook Messenger, let me open up Facebook Messenger now. Okay, so again, we go into your page. Oh, it should be pages, sorry. Click on pages. Okay, so we want to go into, I believe this one. This is the page we created last week. Okay, so to send the message, we just click the test button here. Okay, and then we shall try it out. So we were trying this out the other day, right? So I say, I am hungry. Can we make this a bit bigger? No, never mind. I am hungry. There, you see. See that? You can do it like that, if it makes sense. So when you click on personal, it's like you type personal. See that? Enter flavor, hand tossed. Thin. Oh, it didn't get thin. Oh, so we need to train this. Huh? Let's try hand toss. Okay, that's interesting. In this case, it is actually not going to the that's interesting. Why is it not going? Okay, so that's important to test it in the platform. It seemed to be okay in the simulator, right? It seemed to be okay in the simulator. Why don't we test this in web integration now? So maybe we can go into integrations. Let's just test it and see. Okay, so let's go to the very interesting behavior. Set I am hungry. Personal, regular, large, or extra large. Okay, let's have regular. Can I have the crust that you want? Thin. You see, this one worked, but for Facebook, somehow it didn't work. Thank you. Now we will get your particulars. Type OK to continue. So click OK. Justin. Uh, 398. Okay, I think my spelling was wrong for this. So we have to fix this up. Sorry about that. So we have to go into our intents. Okay, it's my fault. And then this place here, first name. Thank you, first name. Okay, so that should fix the problem. Okay. Yeah. So that let's save that. Okay, so it's interesting. Okay, I'm not sure why this Facebook Messenger was not working for going to user particulars. We did use pizza get crust. Okay, we did use it. Okay, let me just try it without the quick replies. Right? Let's try it without the quick replies. So maybe in the intents. Okay, so maybe I'm going to remove this first. I just want to see what it's like. Okay, just going to see what it's like. Just remove this. Okay, and save that. Okay, so I'm going to. Okay, let's try that again. I am hungry. Personal is okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, and I'm putting here enter your flavor. It should be enter your crust. Okay, let me type in. And now this one worked. Okay, so it's a little bit strange. By the way, this should be enter your crust. So cool. Okay. Then it works. So there. Justin. Here we are. Three 98028. Okay, so there you got it. Okay. Now there's that weird behavior there. We'll have to check on why that is so. Okay. But you can see that in all the other platforms it seemed to work, and when we typed it in, it did work. So I'm not sure whether there was some sort of issue with Facebook Messenger or what. Okay. But nevertheless, I'll end it for this video, and please just make sure you understood the concepts in this practical, and we will proceed to fulfillment for the next one. Thank you for watching this video. Till the next video. Bye.